I'm Alex Heron, sophomore for Versailles Track. Fish Report Live is coming up next.
Coming to you live from Studio F in Versailles, Ohio, it's the Fish Report Live Show with your hosts, Craig Fissinger and Ken Francis.
Welcome, everyone, to another Fish Report Live. It is Wednesday night, April 3rd. My name is Craig Fissinger. That's Ken Francis. Thanks for joining us tonight. Our buddies TK and Heavy D are back in the sound room again this week, Ken. And last Wednesday, it was kind of a girls' night. We talked about girls' softball, talked about girls' track. Tonight, it's the boys' turn, isn't it?
Yes, it is. We're going to talk a lot of high school baseball, some high school track tonight. We've got a couple nice interviews, one with Versailles head baseball coach Mitch Hoying, along with some video and a few highlights from last night's track meet, and a couple interviews with a few of the boys on the Versailles track team. So it should be a lot of fun.
Looking forward to all that, Ken, and we're going to get to all that in just a second. But before we do that, we got to get to that weekly trivia question. Last week, I got on the right track, got one right finally. Looking forward to going 2 in a row tonight. What do you got for me?
All right, Craig. Well, I'm a little tougher this week, and since we're talking high school baseball, the question is this: which of these local teams has won the most state championships? Which of these local teams has won the most state championships? Is it Fort Laramie, Coldwater, Minster, or St. Henry? Now, there's 13 state championships between these 4 teams, so
baseball,
4 pretty
wow.
good programs. Which one of them has won the most?
Okay, that's a good question. I'll have to give that a little bit of thought. I'll give you my answer at the end of the show. All right, well, speaking of baseball, Ken, we're going to start out talking a little boys baseball tonight. And, one thing, I guess baseball started this weekend, but it was a little hard to get the games in because of the weather. I noticed quite a few games that were postponed or I guess just not played because of the weather, was there?
Yeah, but, surprisingly, things dried out well enough. Most of the teams got on the diamond last Saturday for either for a game or a scrimmage. And come Monday night, just about everybody had opening night. The Shelby County League was in full swing, and it was back on baseball. It was cold, but they were playing.
One reason I like these preview shows, Ken, is because I tend to forget things from one season to the next. I kind of, after the season's over, I kind of forget who last year's seniors were, and that's why I kind of like these preview shows. However, I do remember 2 things specifically from last year. One of those is the Versailles Raiders won the SEL title, and they came down to the last league game of the season. They played Fort Laramie. It was a classic 12 innings. Versailles won that one 1-0, didn't they?
Yes, they did. What a game that was. I remember that one as well, very well. Treg Francis threw a masterpiece for, I think, 9 or 10 innings. I'm not for sure how many he threw. And then Isaiah Counts came in, got great relief help from him, and as well did Seth Giozzi from Fort Laramie. He threw 8 or 9 innings of shutout baseball. So it was a great game by 2 great teams, and I expect nothing different next week when them 2 get together. Yeah,
well, the other thing I remember is that the Minster Wildcats, for the 2nd year in a row, won a state championship, didn't they?
Yes, they did. They're very strong. They're very strong again this year, Craig. They got a lot of skilled positions back. And, they're a phenomenal team. They're on a great run right now. And, I would say, hands down, they're probably the team to beat again this year in Division IV baseball.
All right. Well, the one other thing I do remember, actually, I remember 3 things, and one of those was Minster did win a state championship, and they are a member of the MAC. However, the winner of the MAC was actually the Versailles Tigers last year. They had a very good team, and they won a MAC championship over Minster. Along the way, I think they also beat a good Coldwater team. New Bremen was good last year, and maybe even Delphus, I believe, was up there in the league too. So
yeah, Versailles has got a great program, and we're fortunate to have Versailles head baseball coach Mitch Hoying on the phone with us tonight, and looking forward to talking to him.
yeah, he's actually the last year's MAC Coach of the Year, and like you said, I believe we have him live on the phone. Coach Hoying, welcome to Fish Report Live, and thanks for joining us tonight.
Hey, guys, thanks for giving us a little bit of interest here at Versailles. It's great to be here.
All right. Well, first of all, congrats to a great start to the season. I know you guys beat Arcanum, I believe, on Monday night. Last night, you picked up a win over Franklin Monroe, so you're 2-0 right now. And all this comes on the heels of your basketball team just, I think it was a couple weeks ago, playing in the state tournament. And the first question I want to ask you, Coach Hoying, is do you have any guys that were playing hoops that are now playing baseball? And did that slow you down to start the season at all?
Yeah, we picked up 5 guys when basketball was done. Damian Richards, Jake Winning, Kyle Richling, and a couple other guys. They're all going to be a big part of the crew. And sure, it slowed us down a little bit, but heck, it was a lot of fun following those guys as they won some big tournament games. And I know that's a thrill for everybody in the community, including all the other baseball guys. So to be honest with you, it may have slowed us down a touch, but it sure did break up that long winter we had. The guys had some stuff to be excited about in the gym while we were hitting, getting to go to the games and watch their friends succeed. So it was a lot of fun for everybody.
Yeah, I couldn't have slowed you down too much. You're 2-0 right now, and last year I believe you finished with a record of maybe 25-7. That included a state or a MAC title over the state champs from Minster, who Ken and I were just talking about. I want to ask you, when you win a conference title like that over a team like Minster, who goes on to win the Division IV state championship, does that make you believe that hey, we can do the same thing in Division III?
Absolutely it does. One of the big things about the MAC is you play just a few league games. You only play 9 to 10 league games, so every one of those is kind of a must-win game. So if you want to win the title in the MAC, and if you want to be fortunate enough to win it outright like we did, those games really, really matter. So you're guaranteed to get 10 games every year that you got to have that kind of give you that tournament feel. Now, we ended up losing to Minster last year, and we were still able to go ahead and beat some other people and pull it out. But conference gets us ready, and the other nice part about playing a relatively low number of league games is you're free to go out there and schedule anybody else you want. I mean, we played 2 doubleheader against Piqua. We played against quite a few good teams. So, a good mix of some league play and aggressive scheduling out of conference, and you can be right where you want to be, battle-tested when the tournament starts.
Coach, hi, this is Ken Francis. Last year you graduated one of the best hitters in the area in Ethan Bruns, who hit well over 400. Do you have any good hitters, or what kind of hitters do you have this year that could fill that big void left with the graduation of Ethan Bruns?
Absolutely. Ethan had a heck of a career in the 2 years I was with him. Hit well over 400, as you mentioned, but that's some of the things we got to figure out. We have a lot of capable guys. We need to figure out who's going to be some of our run producers and who's going to be more of our table setters. While Ethan leaves some big shoes to fill, I think Kyle Niekamp's going to step out on his own and have a big year with the bat. Damian Richards has started out extremely hot. Mitch Gigandi probably moves from hitting later in the order to driving in some runs here in the 2 spot. And a lot of it's set up because Mike Richling's our catcher. He'll be hitting leadoff again this year as he did last year, and he had an on-base percentage well over 500. I think the biggest thing as far as getting that run production for us is going to come down to we need our new guys to step up and be high on-base percentage guys. Mike Richling's on-base percentage last year was over 500. Mitch was in that 450 range. If we can get the Jake Winnings, Jace Bargies, some other guys who are battling out there for playing time on some corner infield spots, if they can at least be some table setters and avoid making outs, that'll really be huge for us to just cycle through the order and get as much experience as we can as fast as we can. And fortunately, through 2 games, no matter who we put in there, because we've probably got 13 different guys to start already, they've been able to do that for us, and that's led to a couple nice wins.
Well, it sounds like offensively you're pretty well set. Tell our listeners out there a little bit about your pitching staff. Gone is Zach Niekamp, who was a very good pitcher for you last year. Who's heading up your starting rotation this year?
I'll tell you what, it's kind of a crapshoot out there in a good way. we probably have 9 to 10 guys that I think can win varsity games for us. And of those 9 to 10, all of them are a little bit different. Craig Langenkamp's kind of came into his own over the summer, and he brings a pretty good breaking ball with him. He's got a nice get-me-over curveball. He's got a good swing and miss breaking ball. Lee Ruenkamp's a senior who's been around for a bit. He started opening day, wasn't super sharp, but he battled through it and did well. Kyle Niekamp's another senior who had a nice tight slider working on opening day. And then you mix in, Jared Heitkamp, Daniel Borchers, Chase Bargy, who's a sophomore that got a varsity win last year, and Damian Richards can pitch for us. Mike Davidson can pitch for us. We truly have plenty of arms to get through any type of rain or scheduling we have. We're just looking for a little separation out of those guys, and all of them have had their moments in the preseason. Mike Davidson was pretty good against Minster in a scrimmage on Saturday for a few innings. And then, we got Miami East on the road tomorrow, then we're at Pickle, then we're at Graham for 2. So the competition steps up here in the next 3 days, and luckily we got enough arms to get through it. And hopefully those guys are going to get their chances, and we'll figure out who performs the best. But there are guys capable of stepping in and filling those roles. It's just going to take a little time to figure out who's who.
Speaking of pitching, Coach, Versailles has got a proud alumni and Major League Baseball player, Washington National, Craig Stammen. I don't know how well you know Craig, but I'm sure you know him somewhat, being involved with the baseball program over there. Explain to our listeners what Craig has meant to the Versailles baseball program.
I think Craig means an awful lot to our players. And, anytime they play a day game and we're on the bus, every single one of them following the Nationals on their phone. They talk about his outings in the dugout. He's a big topic of conversation, and more importantly, he carries himself so well. And when we do a camp together every year in affiliation with the Diamond Club for the kids, he gets people more interested in baseball. Young kids after that camp, which we usually do in late January, suddenly the gloves come out of the closet. They're throwing a little more. They're talking about baseball. They're hitting. They're wearing Nationals gear around town. He brings a lot of excitement in that area. He's got a connection with the high school kids that also help run that camp. They get a chance to talk to him and figure out what life's like a big leaguer. And then on the other end of that, he's instrumental in raising money for the Ball Diamonds. Since before I was hired 2 years ago, they totally redid the entire field and all of the fencing. Craig does a nice dinner together with the Diamond Club where money's raised, and that's been going on for 3 to 4 years. And in addition to that, we're talking about putting in a nice large press box that would accommodate both track and baseball, in addition to some restrooms and storage and other things. Craig is very, very good about giving back to the community. And then more importantly, he even knows what's going on in the community. We played Hamilton-Baden in the regionals, and his fiance happens to be at Baden grad. So, he was well in tune to what was going on at home. And, and he's got a connection to the kids, and they keep in touch with him. And it's been great for Versailles, and it's been great for me.
All right, Coach. Hey, listen, last question, and we're going to let you go here. But next week, you're scheduled to host our Russia Raiders, I believe, next Tuesday. And one of the reasons Ken and I think this is such a fun matchup is because of the coaches. You've been very successful over there at Versailles. I believe you're closing in on 200 wins this season. And we've got a Hall of Famer over here in Coach Rick Gold. It seems like Coach Gold over here has a history with pretty much everyone in the area. I want to ask, what about you? How well do you know Coach Gold, and any history between you two guys?
Yeah, Coach Gold and I kind of go back to when I first started coaching. He was at Pickle at that time, and I was at Sydney, and he was already on the verge of being a Hall of Famer, and I was a 22-year-old trying to figure out what I was doing. And I didn't really know Coach very well, but at the very first tournament meeting we go to, Pickle wasn't having a really great year, and you get a chance to talk about your team, and everybody talks about their pitching, this, that, and the other. Coach Gold says, "Hey, if any of you guys are lucky enough to play us, make sure you bring a camera, because you're going to see something you've never seen before." As it turns out, we draw them. And he was absolutely right, because as the game gets going close, it's 8-7 later, some such like that, and we try to bunt for a hit. Their first baseman charges, and we actually bunt for a hit that goes over the first baseman's head lands almost on the edge of the outfield grass, and we have a guy going from first to third on the play and end up scoring the run.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, it was really, I've never seen it happen again. And then even more unique in all of that is they come up and hit in the seventh inning. He puts the hit and run on in a one-run game, and they happen to hit a scorcher up the middle that bounces right off the pitcher's mound to our second baseman. He catches a chest high, and we turn a double play to win the game.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, good breaks there, and it was one of those years for them. And since, you know, he's really active in summer baseball. He was at Wittenberg, recruited a couple of kids I had at Sydney, and he's just been good for baseball, and he was really good for me in terms of providing a little bit of leadership when I was young, figuring out what we needed to do, and just talking about how to build baseball programs and how to treat kids. So, you know, he's been one of the good guys in coaching that I've been lucky enough to get to know, and I've been lucky enough that he's been willing to share a lot of what he learned over the years with me.
All right. Well, listen, hey, that's great stuff, Coach. Like I said, we'll let you go, and I sure appreciate you taking the time to join us tonight. Good luck this season, and we look forward to seeing you next Tuesday at your place.
Absolutely. Looking forward to playing the Raiders.
Thanks, Coach.
Take care.
All right, that was the head coach of the Versailles Tigers, Ken Mitch Hoying, and pretty good guy, and he does have a little history with Coach Gold over there, doesn't he?
Yes, he does, and you know, he's been real successful over there at Versailles, and he's got a lot of talent back this year again, and I'm sure they'll have another fine year.
All right, well, we're going to take a little commercial break. When we come back, we're going to be talking that boys track and check out those interviews that TK did for us last night, so stay right there.
I got red and blues in my rear view, doing 90 down 75. I got blood on my boots and a shaky hand and a smoking 45. There's a light in the sky, 10-step booms, all with the beat on me. Well, I think they're ready for a long, long night, 'cause I won't go easily. They'll never take me alive. Go on after me, 'cause I shot that girl. The woman said she loved me. You'll never take me alive. This is the end of me, 'cause I shot that girl. The woman said she loved me. My friends all told me what I could not believe, what the whole town already knew. With that little girl I call my own, she just could not be true. So I drove around till I found a truck parked in that boy's drive. Well, I kicked in the door, emptied my gun, said, hey, have a nice night, but never take me alive. Go on after me, 'cause I shot that girl. The woman said she loved me. You'll never take me alive. This is the end of me, 'cause I shot that girl. The woman said she loved me.
Welcome back to the second half of Fish Report Live, everyone. And Ken, before the break, we're talking a little boys baseball. Like I said, it's boys' night, so we're going to talk a little boys track here now. But before we do that, I wanted to slip in a little girls track because last night they ran at the Joe Ward Invitational along with the boys, and the girls have had kind of a record of success there in Sydney, and last night was no exception, was it?
Yeah, they were champions again last night of the Joe Ward Invitational in Sydney. Nice meet held over there. It was an extremely cold night again, as it usually is. But the Lady Raiders are off to a great start. They went to the Versailles Invitational last week, walked away with that championship, and again last night. So they're off to a good start. They got a very deep team. We talked to Coach Phelan last week, and she expressed, her thoughts on the team, and so far they've lived up to it.
All right. Well, you know me, Ken. I'm a distance guy. I like those distance races, the 3,200, the 1,600, a couple of my favorites. And TK was, we sent him to Sydney last night to do some interviews and take a little video footage. He got some video of the girls 1,600, and I'd like to show that here right now. Guys, why don't you bring that up? And we've got our own Emily Borchers and Lauren Francis in this race on the inside lane. Let me ask you, What's the better lane?
And we're off in the mile race.
In a race like this or the outside lane?
Well, I'd rather be in the middle, but since you're giving me the option there, I'd say on the inside. Typically, because you can see the other runners, you know where they're at.
Lap 2
and
completed.
Technically runs the same distance, so it's really not a big deal. But from a mental standpoint, I think I'd rather be on the inside. Just makes you go on a little harder and push it.
All right, well, we're watching some video there, and that first lap, New Knoxville's Cassie Boyle was actually in first place.
Completed lap 3.
Sydney was in second, and as you see here at the halfway point, Emily kind of takes.
Here she's Borchers and Francis making their move toward the front.
They're in third place. Both ran a really good race, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. Actually, all 3 of them did. Cassie Boyle from New Knoxville, she's been a very good runner over the years. And, I saw her run last week.
And there's your winner,
well.
Emily Borchers.
Rushie's Lauren Francis, Emily Borchers, of course.
Third place for Rushie.
Runners that
Lauren Francis.
Have just had great careers already. Emily only being a sophomore and Lauren being a senior, of course.
All right, well, you just saw the finish there. Emily did finish first in that race. Boyle was second, and Lauren Francis was in third. And a good night for Emily Borchers. She actually picked up 4 first places. She won the 800. The 1600 was part of that 4x8 relay that won, along with Lauren Francis, Lauren Heaton, and Claire Sherman. Mm-hmm. And then she also won the high jump, too, didn't she?
Yeah, she did. She had a phenomenal night, was actually the top point getter, and received an award for that. So great athlete, and yes, she did. She had a super night.
All right, well, that's going to do it for girls track. Let's move on to boys track, since that's what we were going to talk about tonight. And the boys, again, they were at the Joe Ward Invite last night. Kind of a tough assignment for the boys. When you got teams like Tecumseh and Sydney there, some Division I schools, that's kind of tough for a school like Rushi to run against guys from those schools.
Yes, it is, but they were very competitive last night, and as we're going to see here in the 1600, some video in this one. So Rushi kids work hard. They don't have a lot of numbers this year, especially when you compare them to Sydney and Tecumseh, but I tell you what, for the number of kids that they've got, they do an exceptional job.
All right, guys, let's show that video of that 1600. And Ken, we just talked about the girls having the inside lane. Rushi's Caleb Ball and Alex Heron actually have the outside lane in this one, don't they?
Yeah, they do. And, like I said, they go out. They can't really see the runners behind them. So it makes for a little bit of a disadvantage there as everybody is really chasing them down technically. So, they fell a little bit behind, I believe, after the first lap, but they gradually moved up as the race went on. And, Caleb Ball and Alex Heron both do a phenomenal job, and you'll see them finish here shortly.
Yeah, they were in 8th and 9th place in that shot we just saw. And I guess there's 2 ways to run a race. You can either get out front and stay out front, or you can start in the back and work your way up. And as each lap went on, those boys gradually worked their way up. Like I said, they were just in 8th and 9th. Now they're in 7th and 8th, and they're going to have good seasons this year. It's early, and once they get things going, I think they'll be good distance guys for Rushi.
Yeah, they're going to be good distance guys. Rushi's got some other kids, too, in the middle distance. They've got some decent sprinters and a couple kids that are off to a good start in the field events. So they should be very competitive.
All right, and there you are on the 3rd lap, Alex and Caleb moving up again in 5th and 7th place. And you'll see them coming up here at the finish in just a second. And the Sydney's Jared Tangeman actually finished first in that race, Ken. And then you'll see Caleb coming up here in 4th place. And Alex actually finished 6th in this race.
I think Rushi finished, 3rd overall in the team standings, I believe, behind, I think, Sydney and Tecumseh. And overall, pretty good night for the Raiders. Especially their first meet. The girls had a meet in them already, and the boys are right back on it Saturday at Versailles. All
right, and like I said, TK was roaming around the grounds there at the invite last night and got a few interviews from us, and let's see what some of the boys had to say about last night's meet.
All right, Fish Report listeners, we're here at the Sydney Invitational Track Meet with Rushi Raider Johnny Hoying. We're just getting ready to start things. The 4x800 is just about to get going, and we're doing a little pre-race interview here with Johnny. So, John, what are you going to run today?
Today I'm running the 800.
The 800? So you're a sophomore this year, right? Or junior, sorry. You're a junior?
Yes.
Okay, so your 3rd year of track?
2nd year of track. Freshman year I did baseball. Okay,
that's good. So this is the first time out, the 800. Did you run the 800 last year?
Yeah, I ran the 800 last year.
Okay, and I think everybody knows you're a cross-country runner, and normally a little bit longer distance. What's the difference in preparation here when you're doing just the 800 compared to the long cross-country run?
Some say that the 800 might be still considered a sprint, but I mean, in the 3 mile, it's just more about surviving. It's a lot more endurance. This one, you want to go out hard. You'll probably see today there'll be a lot of guys going out hard in their first lap.
All right, folks, now we've got Russia Raider Jacob Epperson here. Jacob is a junior for the Raiders. Jacob, what are you going to be running today?
Well, today I'll be running the 400-meter dash. I ran it a couple times last year, but I have higher expectations this year. I'm a little bigger, a little stronger. Learned a lot from last year. I looked at it more as a distance run last year, but you learn pretty quick. It's more of a sprint. Last time I'd start out too slow, and I would find myself behind before the 200-meter. So I'll try and go out a little harder this time.
So you guys have been practicing for quite a while to get ready for your first event. How's practice gone with the weather this year?
The weather's always difficult, at the beginning of the year. It's still winter, wearing off. We've had a lot of snow. That's kept us inside a lot, so we're not really in the best of running shape, but we've been lifting, and we're in pretty good physical shape.
All right, we're with Nick Paulus now here at the Sydney Invitational Track Meet. Nick is a junior here for the Raiders. Nick throws shot put, just got finished up. How'd things go today?
It went good. Was expected. I throw what I average throw, so it was a good day.
That's good. I know I talked to Jacob a little bit earlier about the weather. How's that affected getting ready for this season?
It's been really cold, but you just got to acclimate yourself to it and get used to it.
All right, you're a junior, so you've been throwing for a couple years now. What have you learned that's really prepared you for this year that you think you're going to get a little bit better?
Just not to be afraid by your opponents. In shot put, usually you see a whole bunch of big guys, but it's mostly about form, and if you got that down, you're fine. So.
All right, do you have some goals for this season?
Yeah, I wanted to break the school record.
All right, well, congratulations on a good day, and good luck the rest of the season.
Thank you.
All right, Ken, that was 3 of the Russia Raiders there, John Hoying, Jacob Epperson, and Nick Paulus. We actually saw Russia's Alex Herron at the top of the show there, and like I said, they're gonna be get a little better as the season goes on, aren't they?
Yes, they will, and the boys will work hard for Coach Schaefer and the other coaches, so they'll have a good season.
All right, well, I want to go back to the sound room and ask the boys back there a few questions. And TK, you interviewed 3 of those boys. There was actually a freshman, Weston Levy, that won last night in the pole vault. And we asked you last week about the freshman girls coming into the program this season. How about the freshman boys? What do they got coming in this year?
They're going to be good. They're going to be pretty good as well, Fish. Let me get warmed up here. Yeah, as you said, Weston Levy came out and took a first place, which I'm not sure everybody was looking for that, but that's a good thing for the team, obviously. A total of 5 freshmen were able to participate last night. Trevor Monin, Caleb Ball, Josh York, and Dalton Reese were the others, along with Weston, that got to have some time on the field. Looking overall, they participated in 13 events, 11 of which they did help the team score some points. Those were the totals, and then they were in 7 individual events, and 5 of those they scored points. So right off the bat, the guys came in, they were able to help out the team. Got about 5 or more freshmen also on the team in addition to those guys. So a nice crew. Looks like a lot of them will get the chance to participate. So it's good for the Raiders, and showed last night with a nice outing by the whole team.
All right, Heavy D, I want to ask you, this was the second track meet last night for the girls. It was actually the first for the boys. What's on the schedule next for the Raiders?
Yep, the girls are coming off 2 nice wins at Versailles and then last night at Sydney. They don't play again or run again until next Tuesday at Fort Recovery, so got about 5-6 days to recover there. The boys back at it again this Saturday at the Versailles Invitational. They're going to be running in the orange division. There are 3 divisions, orange, white, and black. About 8 teams per division. And last year they finished the runner-up, getting beat very closely by a good Waynesfield Goshen team. And Laramie is also running in the orange division there, so a little backyard rivalry going at it. Should be a good meet. I think the weather's going to be nice also.
All right, good stuff, guys. And Ken, I want to ask you, as far as the SCL goes, who do the Raiders need to look out for this season?
Well, I think the favorite's got to be Anna, Craig. They've got a lot of kids that run track. They've got great sprinters. They got a lot of strength based off their football team. They got a big school there, a lot of kids to pick from. So Anna's very good. I expect Fairlawn to be pretty good as well as Houston. So, and Russia will be in that mix.
All right. Well, that's good stuff, and I think that's going to do it for our boys track talk tonight, Ken. And like I said at the top of the show, I tend to forget things from one season to the next. I'm all caught up in boys track and boys baseball. I'm ready to go now.
There you go. So just come out and watch some good baseball games, some good track meets, and you'll really be caught up on it.
All right. Well, let's get back to that trivia question you asked me at the top of the night. Why don't you repeat it again and give me my choices?
Well, since we were talking baseball, Craig, the question was this: which one of the local teams that I'm going to give you holds the most baseball state championships? Which one of these teams has won the most baseball state championships? Is it Fort Loramie, Coldwater, Minster, or St. Henry? And they've won 13 combined. Those four teams, all great baseball programs, they've won 13 state championships.
Well, I know, of course, Minster's had two of them the last couple of years. I know Laramie's actually had a couple of them. I don't know much about St. Henry, and I know Coldwater's had just a tremendous baseball program for years. I'm going to have to go with one of the MAC schools. I'm going to go with Coldwater.
Well, you know what, Craig? Like I said, the teams have had a lot of state championships between them. Fort Loramie has had 2. Minster has actually had 3. St. Henry has had 3, and Coldwater has had 5.
Hey,
so
what
you're
do you
right.
know?
You got it 2 weeks in a row. So.
All right, good deal. I'll try to extend my streak to 3 next week.
I'm going to have to get a little tougher on you next week.
All right. Well, hey, listen, that's going to do it for us tonight, Ken. Before we sign off, special thanks to Versailles coach Mitch Hoying and those 3 Russia track boys that we just saw. For our Fisher Report crew, we're going to be back again next week, same time, same place. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Have a great rest of the week, and good night.
From Studio F in Russia, Ohio, for Ken Francis, Craig Kissinger, and TK, this is Heavy D, signing off saying good night and good fishing.